Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Jamie. In today's video, we're going to talk about makeup that I love, but that I would change a little bit. So I really do like all the products that I'm mentioning and I use them quite frequently. They're just little tweaks that I would make to make them that much better. So the first product that I want to talk about is my favorite moisturizer of all time, and it's the First Aid Beauty Ultra Repair Cream, Intense Hydration. I went through a mini size of this and then I bought the full size. And it comes in this container. It has 6 ounces or 170 grams of product. So it's gonna take me quite a while to go through this. But the one thing that I hate about this product is its packaging. You have to reach in to scoop out the product. And I feel like that's so unsanitary, especially when you're putting it on your face afterwards. Of course, I'm washing my hands constantly, but I'm still like, digging my hands in. There's junk under my nails. I wish it came in a squeezy tube because I also feel like that would be better for traveling. When I go away, I'm planning on taking this moisturizer with me, and it's kind of big to lug around. I mean, I'll throw it in my suitcase and I'll make do, but if it came in a squeezy tube, I just feel like that's more convenient. I'm able to control the product that I'm getting because I find that I'm scooping too much, scooping too little. I can't live without this moisturizer. It's my absolute favorite. It works under makeup, it works every night, it works in the morning. I find that this is the only one that really hydrates my skin truly and really intensely. I just wish the packaging was a little bit different. Another product that I love, but the packaging I just hate, is the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. And the packaging stinks so much that mine actually broke. So the screw holding this together completely broke, but I find that that's a lot of the issues that I've seen on YouTube, but that's not the only reason that I hate the packaging. So you open it up and the bronzer's there, but then you have this underneath layer, which I think is kind of pointless. It has a mirror, which I'm not lifting this up to use the mirror. I usually use a full vanity mirror, or I have another mirror that I find is more convenient for traveling. And it has this little bottom pocket for this thing. This is like a foam applicator. I don't even know what this is for. I've tried to see if I could use it to apply the bronzer, but it puts the bronzer on like this. And there's no way that this applicator can really blend out a product. It would streak your foundation, streak your highlight, streak whatever makeup you had on your skin. And this is not blending your bronzer at all. It is the most useless applicator that's ever come with a product. The bronzer itself is great, and I really do like this. I just wish it came in a more convenient compact instead of this bulky packaging with this weird foam applicator, and the packaging breaks, and this could be put together so much better, especially Physicians Formula is one of the pricier brands at the drugstore, and I feel like I'm paying for cheap packaging that's falling apart. One of my favorite brands is Anastasia Beverly Hills. Their eyeshadow palettes is pretty much my favorite eyeshadow palette formula, and I'm guaranteed to buy almost every palette they come out with. My hands down favorite palette by them is the Modern Renaissance, but this is filthy. I wish Anastasia got rid of their felt packaging ages ago because it just collects every piece of dirt. My Norvina one has this giant smudge print. It has dirt everywhere, and I find that if I have any residue of makeup on my hands, you can get it on this palette. I feel like the quality of this palette is so good that sometimes I overlook the felt packaging, but once again, it's one of those minor things that I would change. The felt packaging is on the Modern Renaissance, the Subculture, the Prism, the Soft Glam, and the Norvina palette. The Sultry and Riviera palette have new packaging, which thank God, because I just get dirty. I like to apply the Anastasia Beverly Hills shimmers with my fingers, so there's typically a little bit of residue left on my hand, and then I end up closing the palette and it's just a giant smudge mark everywhere. Speaking of the Modern Renaissance, can you tell this is my favorite palette? I have pan in 5 different shades and I just love it. It's what I have on my eyes right now, and it's one of those palettes where if I don't know what to do, I reach for this. But if it was my palette and I were to design it, I would make one change. This shade right here is called Warm Taupe, and I feel like it doesn't go with the rest of the color scheme of the palette. Everything else is really neutral and berry and mauve-y themed, and then this weird like gray color. And to be honest, the only time I reach for it is when I swatch it to decide if I'm gonna reach for it. It just, to me, doesn't go with the flow of the palette, and I feel like this palette could be replaced with a vibrant red shade or a metallic shade. There are only 2 real metallics in this palette. There's the shade Vermeer, which is a pinky metallic, and the shade Primavera, which is a gold. They are stunning. They're softer than the newer Anastasia shimmers, which I find are more like foiled metal, but because I tend to do more natural looks with this palette on a day-to-day basis, I find that I like that shimmer formula. There's also the shade Antique Bronze, which is what I have all over my lid today, which is more of a satin shade. It doesn't really have that bold metallic, but it's definitely not a matte. I feel like another shimmer, especially in the berry family, could really complete this palette because you go for a nice monochromatic eye look with these berry shades. Because the shimmers are relatively neutral, so you can only use these colors in the crease or all over the lid. Or if you didn't want to put a berry shimmer in this, a nice vibrant red would go well because it would match the berry color scheme and also pair well with the neutrals. And I feel like you have the shade Red Ochre, which is a red, but it leans more maroony. So a true hot red could also really complement this palette. And Anastasia makes such great mattes that I know that their red formula would knock it out of the park. Another Anastasia palette that I love is the Norvina palette. My issue with the Norvina palette is that it was marketed as a purple palette, but it's really a neutral palette with a pop of purples. If you cover up this shade, Soul, all the mattes are relatively neutral, and you only have one true purple shimmer because Drama is kind of like a matte shimmer. It can be used as a matte, and then you have Celestial, which, don't get me wrong, is absolutely beautiful, but 3 pops of purple in a purple palette doesn't really justify a purple palette for me. I still love this palette, and I actually think that this shade called Dreamer is one of the prettiest shimmers. It's just a white gold. It's very like run-of-the-mill, but it's so beautiful. I love this palette, but I really wish there were some more pops of purples. This shade Incense and this shade Volatile are your neutral browns, which I feel like are commonplace in almost all the Anastasia palettes. I would love if they replaced one of these for a nice purple matte because I feel like a deep purple matte or a bright purple matte would be the one thing to take this palette over the edge. Or if you want to keep the browns, you could replace the shade Base because this base color isn't a base for everyone. People with darker skin tones can't really use this to set their eye primer like people with lighter skin tones can. Putting a purple matte in this palette would make it the absolute best purple palette because you still have those pinks. You have the shade over here called Passion, which is like a dark maroony color, which pairs well with the pinks. You have Love, which is the perfect pink shade. You have this shade Soul, which if you watch some of my other tutorials with this palette, you know, I'm actually not crazy about this color. It pulls a little bit gray, but I think used appropriately, it can make a great eye look. But you don't really have a true purple matte to complement this palette. So I oftentimes have to incorporate it with other single shadows or other palettes in my collection. So I have 2 more eyeshadow palettes to talk about, and the next one is my Too Faced Chocolate Gold. If you watched my palette ranking series, which I'll have linked in the cards and down below, you'll know that this one, as well as the Modern Renaissance, ranked in my top 3 palettes. The one thing I would change about this palette is the color selection. Don't get me wrong, this is absolutely beautiful and the chocolate smell is just so delightful, but it's very neutral. Granted, I'm okay with neutrals. I'm okay with this giant base shade, but though it's a chocolate gold palette, I feel like there could be a little bit less gold. There's this gold here called Chocolate Gold, this kind of bronzy gold called Famous, and this gold dipped, which is a white gold shadow. If I was going to change this palette in any way, I'd either make this base shade called Rollin' in the Dough or Chocolate Gold a normal sized pan, and I would add a different metallic. I would add a blue. I feel like that's the one thing missing from this palette because it has, you know, a pink, a purple, a green, an orange, like a rose gold, this dark olive. Like it has your neutrals, but I really feel like a pop of blue would take this palette over the top. I love this metallic formula. It's absolutely beautiful and it gives you one swipe coverage and it has really good lasting power. So I'd love to see a blue as an addition to this because I feel like it would have made this a more complete shimmer palette. And frankly, I would have reached for all of my shimmers from this. A palette that I think has one too many shimmery blues is the Juvia's Place Masquerade palette. I adore this palette and it's one of those things that as I reach for it more, I like it more. To get continual use out of my eyeshadow palette, I like to pull 1 or 2 onto my counter, but a few away. So I'm reaching for them and rotating for them. And this is one that I always want to pull into my rotation because I get continually inspired by it. It's a half neutral, half colorful palette. You have your neutral mattes, a few shimmers, and then these beautiful jewel tone shimmers, which if you haven't tried the Juvia's Place formula, these shimmers are like liquid metal. They're beautiful, and if I want a jewel toned eye or that perfect pop of color, this is the palette I think of grabbing. My one issue with the palette though is the lack of colorful mattes. You have this pink here, which is called Bori, which has some shimmer in it, but you can dust it off to make it a matte. And then you have this orangey color called Cairo, which once again has glitter in it, but you can just tap off your brush and get rid of it. But you have these beautiful, these blues, this green, which is like my favorite color of all time, this purple, this cranberry. This is a matte too, but I wish there was a blue or a green matte. Having 3 shimmery blues in a palette is not bad at all. You have this light one, this medium like royal blue color, and this deep blue color. But I would have loved if one of those blues was replaced with a matte, because I find with this palette, I'm kind of limited to doing a warm tone crease with the mattes on the bottom and a shimmery lid with the mattes on the top. Yes, I can pull it into other palettes, but when I'm traveling with this palette, or it's the only palette I want to use for the day, it limits the amount of colorful looks I can do based on the lack of mattes. Another product that I really enjoy is the Pure Eye Polish. This is a cream shadow, and it comes with a silicone applicator, which you're supposed to dig into the product and get it out. But this product has this net on it, so I'm forced to scrape onto the sides, maneuver the applicator, and it's really a hassle to get this out. I wish that the packaging was different, and I guess I could pop this net out, but to be honest, I've tried it and I would either break a nail or severely struggle. This makes reaching for this product so much more of a hassle because it takes me a while to get the amount of product on the applicator, and I just wish it came in a normal pot without this weird net thing. This is a great cream shadow. It doesn't crease on me, and it works as a single shadow alone where I can just put it on the lid and then blend it into the crease, or I can use it as a base for other shadows. But this net is such a hassle, and I have no idea who thought of this packaging because it just does not work. Another packaging fail that I have is the Milani Luminoso blush. If you've been around YouTube and you've watched any of Nikki Tutorials' old videos, this was the only blush she was using, and I bought it because of Nikki Tutorials. Would you like to see a video about products that I've bought because YouTubers have recommended? Let me know because I've been thinking about filming that for a while. So I bought the Milani Luminoso blush, and this has a similar packaging defect to the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. First of all, the packaging broke on me within a few days. It has this Milani plastic thing in this plastic ring, but this plastic comes out and I find that it damages the product and it's a hassle. So I have to pop it back out, pop it back in every time I use it. And like the butter bronzer, there's also this little secret compartment with a mirror and a brush. I might have used this brush 10 years ago when I didn't have a brush collection, but now I'm surprised that I haven't thrown it out. I think I just keep it because I never go into the bottom. It makes this packaging just a little bit more bulkier and a little bit hard to store, plus the fact that the packaging is breaking off on me. I love this blush. It's a beautiful peachy coral shade with a nice golden flip, and I even think that it can be used as a highlighter on deeper skin tones. It's absolutely stunning, but the package just makes this a hassle. If this thing isn't popping out, I have the bottom opening with the brush, and it could be simplified so much that it would just make it so much easier to use. So the last 2 products that I have to talk about are both complexion products. And the first one is the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Concealer. This is one of my favorite concealers of all time. Holy grail, hands down. I've gone through 3 of these. I have one on backup. I absolutely love this, and I find that my under eyes always look flawless. I can blend this all over my face and blend it out for an easy no makeup day because it provides decent coverage, or I can put it under my eyes for a concentrated look and to really conceal and define. My one issue with this is, once again, the packaging. You twist up the product and it comes through this little sponge tip applicator, which I think the reason I go through this often is because of the sponge tip. The product kind of gets everywhere, and is it unsanitary? I think it is. I have to put this under my eye and then I have to blend it out, and I find that this tip really absorbs product. You can see how disgusting it is, and I just wish this came in a normal doe foot applicator. But I also think the magic of the product might be in the packaging. I hate this little sponge thing so much. And the last product that I have to talk about is the Physicians Formula Healthy Foundation. I have a love-hate relationship with this foundation. Some days I'm like, oh my God, this looks flawless. And other days I'm just like, it's breaking up, it looks terrible. Why did I ever spend $100 at the drugstore on this? But when I do like this, I still have an issue with it, and it's the packaging. This comes in a doe foot applicator, which I like and I don't like. I find that I have to keep dipping in and dipping out, and then I have to scrape the sides to get product, and that's a bit of a hassle. But I also like the fact that because it's a doe foot, I can control the amount of product that I'm putting on my skin and add more or take off as needed. But sometimes when I'm dipping in and out, I'm just like, is this really sanitary? I'm brushing this on my face and then putting it right back into the tube to fester with bacteria. And it wouldn't be a foundation that I'd like to use on my friend because I don't think it's clean. And I like to share my makeup with my friends. When we go out, I usually end up doing their makeup. So I probably wouldn't share this foundation just because the applicator goes on my face and then back in the tube. And I think if you're a working makeup artist or someone that does makeup on clients, you wouldn't be using this foundation because of sanitary purposes. Whereas foundation with a pump, you can just control the amount that comes out and you're not continually dipping into the product. I do like this foundation on most days. Like I said, we're frenemies, but we're mostly friends. So I do think this is great. I just wish it was a pump instead of a doe foot because I also feel like you get more product out of a pump and I just gravitate towards pump foundations more. So those are some of my favorite products that I would slightly alter and change just to make them that much better if I could. But like I said in the beginning, just because I want to change these products doesn't mean they're bad at all. And they're actually all some of my favorite products. What are some products you love, but you would just slightly change just a little bit to make them that much better? I'd love if you let me know down below. If you like this video, I do post videos every week on my channel, so I hope you'll consider subscribing to see new content from me every week, and I hope to see you back then. Thanks for watching.